So I've been looking for a knife that would kind of take the place of my heavy Bowie knife, yet not be as big as a large machete. For me, I think about practical buys when I buy equipment. I don't want to buy a $100, $150 machete that I'm only going to use once a year. You know, now if I lived in the jungles of Amazon somewhere, maybe that would be a good purchase for me. But for my practical needs, I need something inexpensive, practical, and yet would still fit the need that I have. So what I did is I found this, the SOG Sogfari. It's a 13-inch high carbon stainless steel blade. I don't have the exact specs on the metal, but I know that high carbon steel has to be between 0.2 and 1.2% carbon. Also, stainless steel requires a certain amount of chromium. 10.5 or more is the percentage of chromium you need for a stainless steel. Now, the factory edge on this blade happens to be very sharp. I've never bought a machete with as sharp an edge as this. It's not what I would call scary sharp, but it's very close to that. You can see it's a very attractive looking knife. Has a saw back the full length of the blade, and it does flex. It's not so thick that it's a big heavy piece of steel. It does flex a little bit, but not so much that I would consider it flimsy. It's got a nice shape for a machete, a little heavier on the end because when you're coming down you want some weight in the front for leverage. It's got a nice sized handle. The Kraton handle has the digi grip, and it has the standard lanyard hole as well as two other holes near the base of the knife blade. You can see it's a very sizable handle, very large. It's got a nice finger grip on it, and in the rear it also has a guard, and it does have a striker on the back. Now the striker does work. I wouldn't call it a great striker, but it does work. No problem there. And the sheath is nylon. It's what I would call a semi-hard shell. That is, when you take the knife out it stays open, and that's great because it assists you in getting the knife back in. As you can see, it has a saw back, so you don't want that getting caught on your sheath as you put it in. So having it semi-hard and staying open does help. It has simply a Velcro catch and a belt hold. Alright, this is the normal use of a machete. See, it has no problem hacking through brush. No problem at all. This is an old hard piece of sassafras. Okay, that's oak. You know, it's a service sawback, not great, but for notch making, etc., it's going to help. If I keep going at it, I can get through this. I mean, I'm sure it has its uses as a saw, but for me personally, I'd rather just chop through something. Some really hard oak here. My overall impression of this machete is that it's a step up from your standard machete, definitely a step up. And for the price, it's going to fit the needs that I have in a practical way. It's not a big heavy knife, and at the same time it's not a flimsy knife. It's a medium quality knife, definitely worth the price of $20 for the needs that I have. Like I said, I'm not going to spend $100, $150 for a machete that I'm never going to use. At the same time, I'm not going to pay $4 or $5 for a machete that's flimsy, that's big and awkward, that just isn't worth the hassle of carrying around in the woods with me. So this fits the bill for me. I recommend it. Definitely worth the price for me, and I look forward to what you have, your comments, your questions, and I'll be using this year. I'll let you know how it does.